Have you ever wanted to turn all of your creatures into bears and all of your opponent's creatures into bears and make them all tutus? Well, now you have your chance. We have Kudo, King Among Bears, and this card looks super fun. It is a hate bear that turns all your bears into bears and makes everything a tutu bear. We love this. Beautiful. There's a lot of cool synergies you can do with this. One of them being Elesh Norn. Ever heard of Elesh Norn? Elesh Norn Grand Cenobite, just make it so all your bears are 4/4s and all your opponent's bears are 0/0s. So whenever your opponents play a creature, they die to state-based actions. Seems like good balanced magic. Who doesn't love that? Although this commander seems like it's really good for like a bears deck where all your cards are bears, you don't even need to have a single other bear in your deck because it turns all your creatures into bears. There is one bear in particular though that you do want in this deck because it works really, really well with having a bunch of bears, and that's Ayula. Ayula just becomes whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you can put counters on a creature, or you can have a creature fight a creature. And since every creature's a 2/2, putting counters on them means that you now have the biggest creature on the board, and that means that the fighting thing is going to be really easy to kill things with. Love that. Also, Ayula's influence seems kind of fun. Along with those, there's a few other cards I wanted to mention that work really well since all your creatures are bears. You have cards like Kindred Boon, Metallic Mimic to make your bears bigger, same thing with Obelisk of Erd, Radiant Destiny, Rally the Ranks, and Konda's Banner. All those just kind of break parity, making it so your creatures are bigger than everybody else's creatures. And then also Roaming Throne. Roaming Throne just seems like a no-brainer in this style of deck. If you decide, nah, I don't want to break parity, I want everything to be a 2/2 and remain a 2/2. Well, there's a few cards that synergize really well with that. Although I don't think this is the best strategy to go, but there's a few cards I wanted to mention that are really cool in that style of deck, being Sidar, Delny, Saradoc, and Welcoming Vampire. Those would be really cool, but I think you should build this as a +1/+1 counters deck with a heavy tokens theme, because the wider your board gets, everything's going to be a 2/2 no matter what. So if you go wide, then your opponent's 2/2s are not going to be able to block all of your 2/2s. But then also if you put +1/+1 counters on your 2/2s, they are now 3/3s and 4/4s and 5/5s, and your opponents still have 2/2s. So you're just going to be able to run them over. Some of the good counter synergies I wanted to mention, ways to put counters on your creatures, include Requisition Raid, which is also removal, Bristly Bill, Kami of Whispered Hopes, that thing can tap for a ton of mana. Similarly, you have Evolution Sage, Forgotten Ancient, both the Ozoliths, Felidar Retreat, which also helps with that token theme. Rishkar can turn everything into mana dorks as well. Renata makes things bigger. You have Arwen, which seems cool, Defiler of Vigor, Evolution Sage, Railway Brawler, Loyal Guardian, Andoril, but the bad Andoril, perfect. Sword of Truth and Justice, Tribute to the World Tree, Cathar's Crusade, and Virtue of Loyalty. Not only are there good ways to put counters on your bears, but there's good ways to make your bears with counters even better bears. So, some of the good counter synergy cards include Sovereign Akanek Eahu, Hamza, Lizelle, Hardened Scales, and Conclave Mentor, along with Branching Evolution to get extra counters. Similarly, you have Doubling Season, Kutzel, Kodama, Dusk Legion Duelist for card draw. Threefold Thunderhulk seems hilariously good in this deck. Basri's Lieutenant, Together Forever, Resourceful Defense, and one of the best cards for this deck, Champion of Lamholt. Everything's a 2/2. Your creatures are just going to become unblockable so quickly. Now let's go through some token stuff, because I think tokens is a good route to go. Everything's 2/2s. You're going to want a wide board. It makes all your 1/1 tokens into 2/2s. That's so much stronger. So some good token synergies are Torrens, Rice, Jaheira, turn your tokens into mana rocks. Love it. Ultec Matter Weaver. March of the Multitude seems disgusting. If you want more tokens, you can throw in Ohair Tak, Anointed Procession, Mondrak, or Parallel Lives. Scoot Swarm being 2/2s, love it. Maja creates tokens and gives +1/+1 to all of your creatures. Seems disgusting. Pollen Shield Hair can boost up those tokens. Kadira seems like an amazing include. Same thing with Rosie. I really like Rosie in this deck. Sandstorm Salvager just makes all of your tokens bigger and gives them trample. Charismatic Conqueror can pump out tokens. Both Illustrious Wanderglyph and Tendershoot Dryad are auto includes in any token deck in my opinion. Farmer Cotton just pumps out a ton of tokens when you play it. Tashia's Welcome is card draw. Securitron Squadron seems really good in this deck. I love that include. Brava, great. Awaken the Woods, 2/2 land creature tokens, love that. Rabble Rousing, one of my favorite token generators. And Skrelv's Hive. There's a handful of additional cards I wanted to mention that just seem worth running in the deck because they're going to put in a ton of work. Mirari's Wake gives a +1/+1 to everything and makes it so all your lands tap for double. So you break parity on the 2/2 creatures and then also double your mana. Other ways to break parity are Flowering of the White Tree, Adaptive Automaton, and specifically when you go with that tokens route, you've got King Darien, Intangible Virtue, and Inspiring Leader. If you do plan on going that go wide strategy, Craterhoof and Moonshaker Cavalry, insane finishers. Toski will be an awesome card draw engine, and Rite of Harmony can just draw you a million cards all at once. Love that. Those are my ideas for Kudo King Among Bears. I wish that Kudo had partnered with Ayula. That would be disgusting. If you have any ideas that I didn't mention, please leave them in the comments section. And I will see you next time. Peace out, everybody.